Yeah, you gotta know what type of person you dealing with or whatever the case may be. Like, you know what I mean? Are you a giving person? Are you somebody who likes grand gestures? And if you with somebody, they need to know that about you. Like, if I'm gonna sit up here and buy you a Benz and then on my birthday you buy me a sweater.
Welcome to another intriguing episode of the Ghetto podcast with your host Jamar. Today's topic is transactional relationships, right?
Right.
So we got who in the house?
Britt's in the house.
Britt is in the house. In the house.
Real.
So, what you know about transactional relationships?
I just know that they can be toxic. That's my initial thought. That's my initial thought on transactional relationships. But then you could also use the saying that if you're not able to be used, you're useless.
That's true.
So I think if it's not done with malice and it's a give and a take,
it's kind of transactional.
You know. But aren't all relationships transactional?
We're going to discuss that. So I know one thing is this, right? It's focused on benefits. It's literally a give and take. You know what I mean? It's like a business transaction. Because you're giving me this, I'm giving you this.
Right. But I feel like relationships are kind of like that in a sense. So whether it's friendships or whether it's like a romantic relationship or a platonic relationship, it's a give and a take in any relationship you're in.
So how do you feel when people say like, yo, you're not supposed to like expect something back?
So I do also believe that, you know, if you're going to do something out of the kindness of your heart, you shouldn't expect something back. But I do feel like you should be in a situation or a relationship where they do reciprocate. So if it's a situation where, let's just say you were able to do something for them that they necessarily couldn't do for themselves or whatever. So out of the kindness of your heart, you decided to do something for them. Okay, that's great. But they may not be able to reciprocate that immediately. But let's just say when they're in a position to be able to reciprocate, they don't.
Yeah, then
I would be like, okay. So it's not necessarily that I'm waiting for you to pay me back. But in a sense, it's just like, you know, I didn't mind doing it for you out of the kindness of my heart. And I necessarily didn't want anything in return. But I understood that I was in a position where I was up and you weren't in that moment. So if you get into a position where you're up and you just treat me like, oh, you know, then I'd be like, I wouldn't necessarily be mad, but it would be duly noted.
It'd be squinty eyes a little bit.
Little squinty eyes. Because it's like, you know, I didn't have a problem doing for you. And no, I don't expect you to do for me immediately or in the same way that I did for you. But if you get in a position where you're up and you don't even think to look out for me or whatever, it's just like,
are you thoughtful?
Because like I said, when you do things out of the kindness of your heart, it's nothing wrong with that. But you do also want to be in a situation where you're not being taken advantage of. Because there's a very fine line between being taken advantage of and doing something out of the kindness of your heart. The line is very fine. So you could do something out of the kindness of your heart, but you could also be taken advantage of. So
how you feel about, you remember the lyrics from Kanye West?
I'm so sorry. Hold on. A mosquito bit my foot and I am like going through it. I'm so sorry. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't want them to be like, what is she doing?
It's like scratching her foot the whole time. So you remember when he was like, what was it? I forgot what song it was, but he was like, for Christmas, you bought her a new Vans, but for Christmas she got you a new sweater.
Oh yeah.
Was it kiss her on the forehead?
I mean, yeah, you gotta know what type of person you dealing with or whatever the case may be. Like, you know what I mean? Are you a giving person? Are you somebody who likes grand gestures? And if you with somebody, they need to know that about you. Like, if I'm gonna sit up here and buy you a Benz and then on my birthday you buy me a sweater,
how would you feel about that?
I ain't gonna hold you. If you know I wanted a Rollie, or if you know I wanted something equally as expensive, like if you know I wanted a trip to Dubai, or if I wanted a trip to Mexico, if I wanted to go somewhere, you know, get flew out, and you knew that, and I bought you a Benz, and you were more than capable of reciprocating, you know, in a grand way, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same monetary value, but you could have reciprocated in a grand way, as you know, in a way that I gave to you, and you choose not to. Duly noted.
Duly noted.
Duly noted.
In a way, a benefit of a transaction relationship would be like, yo, since you gave me that, I'm gonna give you this.
I don't feel like it's transactional. I feel like it's reciprocation. Because what is reciprocation? Is reciprocation not transactional? Is reciprocation not I do this for you, you do this for me?
I think where is the intention coming from? Like, where is it coming from?
The intention is I fuck with you. I like you. You know what I mean? I appreciate you. Mm-hmm. And you've done for me, and I want to show you that I'm also able to do for you in your love language.
I see what you're saying.
Whatever it is that your love language is, because it don't have to be monetary. It don't have to be necessarily money that I'm reciprocating, but I'm reciprocating energy. You know what I'm saying? I'm reciprocating, showing you that I care, showing you that you can depend on me, showing that I'm reliable, that I'm able to show up for you. That could be reciprocation. You know what I mean? If I'm in a situation where I may not be able to reciprocate monetarily. So it's all transactional when you think about it.
I think like where the difference is with this is my opinion. And differences with transaction is like you're saying, yo, Britt, if you give me this, I'll get you this. And there's a mutual agreement at that point.
But I don't feel like a transactional relationship actually has like, I don't feel like you have a real conversation within a transactional relationship.
It's just expected.
I think it's expected, yeah. I don't think it's a situation where they have a conversation like, hey, I'm going to do this for you, so you're going to do this for me. I think it's more of, I did this for you, so I expect you to do this for me. And if you don't do it, I'm going to feel some type of way. Like, straight up.
Yeah, because like you said, like, all right, so you both, in a transactional relationship, right, you both know what you both bring to the table. That's why you both established this.
Right.
So the expectation is already there.
Right.
I know how much you make. I know what you can give me. I know what you're capable of. So right. I'm expecting. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So when it comes down to reciprocation, it's really just transactional.
So you don't think, all right, so if we're thinking about like transactional, right? Let's say it's what is it, 2023? Ladies got equality. Ladies have some banging.
I feel like that is case by case, and I don't feel like men should generalize women to think that all women think that way, because I don't want to be equal to a man. It's a lot of things that I feel like are traditional. You know what I'm saying? I want a man to pursue me. Like, I don't necessarily want a man to chase me, because if you're chasing me, that means I'm not interested in you. Mm-hmm. But if you pursue me, yeah, I feel like that is the traditional way for a man to go about trying to, you know, date or court a woman. Like, you should pursue. I'm not chasing no man. That is ridiculous. I don't want no equality when it comes to that. I'm not chasing no man. Like, I'm so sorry. That's just not the way of the world. That's not how a man should move. I'm not chasing you. And then, like, you know, it could be like menial things. Like, I'm not taking out no fucking trash. Like, I feel like a man should take out the trash. And I don't know if that sounds crazy or not.
So is that your expectation relationship?
Yes. Like, literally when I lived on my own, when I was living in my apartment or whatever the case may be, mm-hmm. I wasn't in a relationship or anything like that. Any man that came to my house, if my trash was full, they took it out. Like, they took it out, and I didn't have to ask or anything like that. So maybe I've been spoiled. I'm not gonna lie. I do feel like all the men that are in my life, I feel like I've been spoiled by them. But it's because I treat people well. I don't expect to be spoiled, and I'm just like a brat. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, when men would come in my house, especially when I lived alone, and I don't say men as in like it was a rank of niggas, like family members, mm-hmm. like my cousins, you know, my friends or whatever the case may be. If they came and they see my trash before, they took it out.
Are you staging trash cans?
Listen, all I'm saying is I'm not staging. I'm just saying I do expect for a man to do certain things. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, you know, I guess, I don't know. like transactional. I don't know how you want to,
I guess like so transactional relationships actually are old fashioned relationships. They just named it
Yeah,
something else.
it's a little old fashioned or whatever the case may be. And then I feel like I'm very much like, because I was raised like super independent, so my independence is like low key a trauma response. But if you want me to do certain things, I feel like you gotta take shit off my plate. You can't expect me to be cooking and cleaning. I'm working 12-hour shifts just like you.
It's not
Where they do that?
exactly.
Or, because I'm very fair. Or, if you do want me to clean, or if you do want me to cook, I'm not cooking. But I'm not doing the dishes. Transactional.
Yo, I
will cook, but I'm a cook. I will cook every single night. I'll cook dinner every night.
question: how many dishes do you be using though? Where you be cooking?
I ain't gonna lie, I be drunk. I be drunk.
It's a setup.
I do use a lot of dishes, but I've learned. I've got better. I used to use every single dish, or whatever the case may be. But I've gotten better where I've learned to minimize. But what I will say is that I'll cook every single night. But I'm not cooking and doing the dishes if I'm working just like you working. I'm not doing it. You want to go 50? We going 50. I just don't want to be with someone who wants a traditional relationship when it fits their narrative. Like, when it fits your narrative, when it makes sense to you, now all of a sudden you want a traditional relationship.
Give me an example.
But then when it comes to these bills, you want to go 50. You want to go 50-50. Nah. But then when it comes to this housework, you want me to do it. Nah. We're not doing that. But when it comes to the bills, you want to go 50-50. Like, absolutely not.
Like 50-50, like the focus is pretty much like, what do I get versus what do I give? How do you feel like people are more worried about what they get from relationships other than what do they give?
I think you have to be a very self-aware person to really think about what you give. And then you also have to naturally be a giver. If you're not naturally a giver, or you don't have the self-awareness to take inventory of what you give, you may overlook, or you may neglect, or that may become a bigger issue in your relationship later on because you are not fulfilling your person's needs. You're not fulfilling their needs, and you're not hearing them, or you're not seeing them. So that ends up being like a long-term issue. But I honestly feel like, yeah, when it comes to that situation.
I got a question. So this is the one I've been thinking about for like 10 years, right? It's been like 10 years.
Not you've been thinking about this for 10 years. Go ahead.
Since I've been like 20. All right, right? So why is it a selfish reason why we start relationships?
Is it a selfish reason why we start relationships?
Or look to start relationships?
Okay, explain that last part. What you mean?
Like, all right, let's say I'm like, all right, Britt, I'm interested in Britt because I want a relationship. I'm interested in Britt.
Right.
Because what I want is a relationship. Now I'm gonna try to talk to this person to get what I want.
Right.
Because it's what I want.
Right.
I'm not looking to necessarily give. It's just because part of the giving is part of the process of getting you.
Right.
Which is what I want in the end.
Right.
So me getting with you is that like a selfish thing? Because at the end of the process,
I guess
you're gonna be like, I got needs, and I gotta fulfill those needs.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what that person is looking for. Like, I've definitely been with guys that like the idea of me, and not necessarily me. Like, I've been with men where they like the idea of me, and then if they so happen to actually get me, like I actually agreed to a relationship, they didn't know what to do with me. Because you were so focused on the idea of me that you don't understand that there are layers to me. Like, I am a human being. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just the vibe. I'm not just all laughs and giggles and a good time. Like, I have depth. You know what I'm saying? I have things, I have trauma, whatever case may be. And all of that may not be easy, especially when dealing with me in a relationship. I'm not saying that I'm hard to deal with in a relationship. I'm just saying that when you have an idea of someone and then you start to get to know them, and then you have to understand, okay, damn, now I got to peel back these layers of this person, and they're more than just a good time. then it's like, oh, now, oh, it's work involved or whatever. And, I just like having a good time with you. And then that comes into play like, oh, you like the idea of me. I was a good look for you. Like, oh, Brittany's smart, Brittany's this, Brittany's that, or whatever the case may be. It looks good on you to be with me. But when it comes to actually doing the work of being with me, you ain't up for that. You know what I'm saying? You just want to have, a good time, and that's not all I am. I have layers. So yeah, I've definitely run into that where, men like the idea of me or whatever. But I'm a tough cookie, and there's a lot of shit I don't tolerate. So I do feel like getting into a relationship could definitely, I feel like it's transactional for all of us. I feel like it's transactional for all of us because when you get into a relationship, what do you want? You want companionship. You want something.
Yeah.
You're not getting in a relationship just for the fun of it. You're not getting in a relationship just to, say you're in a relationship. I mean, some people do. But when you get into a relationship, you want something. You want something from that person consistently. You don't want to hop. You're saying, I don't want to date anymore. I want to have the same experience or new experiences with the same person. So, yeah, it's 110% transactional because you want something. You just want now, instead of you wanting it from you dating multiple people, you want it consistently from one person.
I see what you're saying. So, it's still transactional. You're just doing it because it's something you want.
This it's all transactional. Like, I feel like every question you go and ask me, I'm be like, it's transactional.
It's a setup.
It's transactional. Everything is transactional.
All right, bet. So one of the things they say for transactional relationship is a prenuptial agreement.
Is that transactional?
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. And I don't see nothing wrong with a prenuptial agreement because people change. People change. And situations change people. Like, you can literally get into a relationship. Just think of how many times you see people get married and they look so happy and in love. And they being whisked away, and they had a great reception, and they having their first dance, and the wedding is beautiful. All the family and friends are there, and then within a year or two, they're getting divorced, or they're not together, or they're legally separated, and it's just like, damn, what the fuck?
What happened? Like,
what happened? So it's just like, I don't see anything wrong with a prenuptial agreement because honestly, things change, and sometimes, I'm not going to say a lot of times because I don't know. But sometimes people get into marriage for the wrong reasons. A lot of people like to be in a marriage just to say they are married.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment. It's an accomplishment. That's a great point. That's like you could do a whole nother podcast segment on that. But especially for women, it's an accomplishment or whatever to know that somebody loved you enough, fuck with you enough to say, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, even if they not, because people be cheating. But for them to get on one knee, for a man to get on one knee and to propose to a woman and say in front of the world, under God, I want you and you only, or whatever. That is an accomplishment for a woman. So a lot of women will get married. I'm not going to say all women, but a lot of women get married just for the title. Just to say that, hey, I am somebody's wife. Even if the marriage is volatile, even if the marriage is, nothing to brag about or whatever, the man ain't shit, he cheating, he doing this, that, and the third, but that's my husband. I have a husband, I have a ring, it's something to show off, but your marriage ain't worth nothing or whatever. So it's definitely like a badge of honor. So I sum this all up to say I am 110% in favor of prenuptial agreements, especially because I am, an aspiring full-time entrepreneur. I don't know where my business or my endeavors are going to take me. So it's like, no shade to whoever my future husband is, but I don't want us to be madly in love. One day we fall out and things get ugly and then you feel like you got stake in what I created when you wasn't even the one who was there.
Just shooting with me in the gym?
In the gym?
Not in the gym.
You ain't get out the mud with me.
Exactly.
But now you got stake in what
Who-
I created.
Was that Mary J. Blige? What's
What?
her name? Mary J.
Oh
Blige.
yeah, but I feel
Don't
like
be
I think
embarrassed.
he was kind of shooting with her in the gym. That's the crazy part.
You think so?
Yeah, he was helping her a lot. He was
Yeah.
her manager. Yeah, he was her manager. So like, it was like it sounded crazy that she had to pay him so much money, but he was wrong for what he did to Mary, but he also wasn't wrong for asking for money once they split because he was her manager. She was supporting his livelihood, and they were married.
That's true.
And she was the breadwinner. So unfortunately, when it comes to marriage, it's really business. It's really business when you break it all down. So it's not just, oh, I'm in love with this person and I want to be married. If you somebody who getting a couple dollars, it's a business agreement.
Prenup.
Yeah, so I 110% am in favor of a prenup. I don't care how it's gonna make that man feel. I don't care because you can put whatever you want in a prenup. A prenup is really what you
want.
Yeah, what you want. Yeah, exactly.
Way better.
Exactly.
This coming from a guy that it took me 4 years to get divorced. 4 fucking years fighting for my life. I was fighting for my life.
It be like that.
Yo.
And then it's like you stuck, like you in prison.
I had to use God made COVID, and then I used COVID to get out of it. I can't give you alimony.
I should use COVID.
And I can't help you out if I'm on unemployment.
Child, listen.
Thank you, COVID. I appreciate you. No one else cares about you like I love you, COVID.
No one else cares about you. I love you, COVID. But yeah, I'm 100% in favor of prenups. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see people who like to feel some type of way like, oh, we supposed to be together forever. We all know. I feel like if you're a millennial, you know that there's a possibility you could get divorced. It just is what it is. People switch up. It just is what it is. And we aren't living in the times of our parents where it's like, y'all get married, y'all make it work no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what till death do us part. Like, people say them vows out there way, but they don't give a fuck about them vows.
No. Death do us part. I don't believe that shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying, like, people say that at their wedding. Like, they say that those are the vows.
I don't even think I said that.
People say it, and then it's just like, you said it if you said vows.
I think we had something. You can do custom vows, you know, right?
Did you say custom vows?
Yeah, we say custom vows.
Listen,
I didn't.
Not you left the till death do us part out.
Because it was like you never know.
I mean, that's true. You never know.
And
you
like
never know.
The person I was
and that's why I say it's nothing wrong with having a prenup.
Right. You right. These motherfuckers switch up within a couple years. They a whole different person. Like, who was you? But like, let's go to you said our parents or grandparents, right? They had unhealthy relationships.
They did.
And it was to a point, well, a woman couldn't have a good job, so they had to rely on the husband. And the husband was what? Cheating, abusing. You know what I mean? It was
and they would put up, and the female would put up with it. That's why it is females out there that will accept a little bit of cheating if they're taken care of. Like, if a man is providing, if he's paying the bills, if he's making sure you good, you know what I'm saying? That mortgage, that car note, the car insurance, your phone bill, you know, the utilities and all of that is taken care of. He's paying for everything. And all you got to, like, at this point, your job is a hobby. You know what I'm saying? We don't really need your money. It's just your money is really extra for whatever you want to do with it, but you don't have to work. You know what I'm saying? When you got that type of man, some women will accept a little bit of cheating. Shit. I'm too independent for that. I'm not even going to lie. So if I'm in a situation where I'm with a man and I feel like I'm fulfilling him, and I feel like we've had multiple conversations to make sure that I am, not even that I am fulfilling him, but that we are fulfilling each other. What are you going to go cheat for? What are you going to go cheat for? For all that, we ain't had to do this. We ain't had to be together. We ain't had to be like, I'm very big on, if you want to be with multiple women, we ain't got to do this. You can go do that without me. You can go do that without me. I'm very big on that. And I just will never respect a man that wants to have his cake and eat it too. I'll never respect that, because if you want to go do that, if you want to date multiple women, be with multiple women, whatever, you can go do that without me. It's that simple. You can go do it.
I don't get it. Like, you ever see people that will cheat back?
I ain't gonna hold you.
I don't believe in the
I
cheat bag.
know,
I don't believe
I
you.
understand what you saying.
Even if I wasn't healed, I wasn't
But
cheating
I
back.
am very, very petty. I'm very petty. And I'm not even gonna lie. If you hurt me, if you are in any way unnecessarily nasty to me, and I didn't do nothing to you, I gotta get my lick back. I gotta get my lick back. You're gonna have to feel me. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to heal. You know, I want God to make me a better person because in my mind, I gotta get my lick back. You're going to have to feel me. You're going to have to feel the way I felt. Like, especially if I didn't do anything to you. Like, I just have too much pride. Like, it's just like, I'm out here being loyal and faithful to you, and you had the audacity to go do me dirty? Of all people. Me? And I'm sitting up here, because if I'm in a relationship, I'm not just in a relationship. Like, I'm in a relationship, I'm supporting you, I'm uplifting you. You know what I'm saying? I'm being your anchor. You know what I mean? Your peace. You know, I'm making sure that we're good, not just me, we. So if you go out and do something to disrespect me, oh, it's war. It is war. I'm dragging everybody to hell.
Oh my
Like,
God.
I'm dragging us all to hell. We all going. Like, it just is what it is. And I want to be different. I want to be better. I'm put that out in the universe. I do want to change. I want to be better. But some shit is just unforgivable. And like, you know how they had that whole thing, not to get off topic, but you know how they had that whole thing like, oh, you need to forgive people, so, you know, you don't take that energy on what you, man, fuck that. I don't care. Some things are just unforgivable.
But it's a waste of energy. Like,
No, it's not. It feels great. I'm not gonna lie. If it didn't feel good, I wouldn't do it.
Real? I'd be like,
it feels good. I ain't gonna lie. When I get my lick back, it's like a rush of adrenaline. Like, yes, like you are going to suffer. That might sound crazy to somebody.
I just be dipping. You know, like, you know, the gift that be like this, you just start disappearing.
But listen, I still dip. I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna just get my lick back first, and then I'm gonna dip. I gotta get the lick back first, and then I gotta see. You know, they say karma. You know, if you lucky, gotta let you watch.
You know what I do though? You know what I realized? I think it's different from guys. Like, guys would be like, "Oh man, you know, you just cheated back," would be hurt. But I think for me, I would disappear.
Yeah, for me,
you won't even hear from me. You're like, damn, I'm blind.
But that's what I'm saying. I do the same thing, but
shit, don't even call my friends.
I get my lick back.
I'm like, yo, I tell my friends block them.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I do all of that. I will disappear, but I'm gonna get my lick back first. You got me. Fuck no. Like, I'm getting my lick back. I'm sorry. I want to be better. God, hear my heart. I want to be better, but right now, in this moment, how I feel, I gotta get my lick back. You gotta feel me.
Well, if you're in a transactional relationship, don't you usually have like limited emotional?
No, because I feel like all relationships are transactional.
Even emotional ones.
Yeah, it's an emotional exchange. Just if it's transactional doesn't mean like a certain type of transaction. Transactional could be an emotional exchange. You know what I'm saying? Monetary exchange, you know what I'm saying? Energy exchange. It doesn't necessarily have to just be one thing. A transactional relationship is just anything that's exchanged.
That's true.
For real. So no, I'm not healed in that way, and one day maybe I will, but until then, don't play with me.
How you feel about that whole, what was it, the Carly situation with that lady?
Man, fuck her.
What'd she do?
She lied about being kidnapped. Like, why would you do? Allegedly.
Was it for a man?
Allegedly, it was over the boyfriend. Allegedly, the boyfriend was dealing with someone, and she wanted her to stop dealing with him, but he kind of was ready to move on from her. So when she disappeared, she unblocked him, just I guess to see what he would say or what he would post about her or whatever. And once he actually posted that, you know, he wanted her back home safely, he gave that little heartfelt post, that's when she came back home. But they said that people who worked at the police station, they said almost like 40 people have been fired within this whole investigation because people were leaking information. And one of the leaked informations was that when she was coming back home, you know, in her neighborhood, people got Ring cameras. And they said that when she was walking, like she was just walking like super casual, like not a care in the world. But then when she got close to her house, she started sprinting and like flailing her arms and like all panicked or whatever the case may be. So they actually
I'm imagining all this in my head. Like,
so they actually have like footage of her, you know, being casual, and then when she got close to the crib, she started like flailing her arms and pretending that she's been kidnapped, and it's really just it's disappointing. Like I feel like she need to be punished on a little bit, not by me because I'm not violent,
but like over, man. On some real stuff, if a guy don't, he just don't. Just move on. It's 100 efficiency.
Yeah, just move on, because one thing you're not gonna do is tell me twice that you don't want me. And the fact that this man didn't want you, you went to this level of extreme, like you had the entire nation in a chokehold about you. And for this to be all for a man who you not going to end up with.
It's crazy.
Because he damn sure don't want your ass now.
But you know what's funny? Like, I would have been like, they would have, if I was my ex or something like that, or someone I just broke up with, they'd be like, how you feel about this? That's crazy.
I mean, I guess at that moment, what she was trying to do worked. Mm-hmm. Because her whole point was to pull at his heartstrings so that way he cared, and that way he, you know, started to feel for her or whatever, and that way he started to have to imagine life like, damn, what if something really happened to her? What if she got kidnapped? What if she's dead? Or whatever. So it made the situation made him do that heartfelt message saying that like he would do whatever to get her back or whatever the case may be. But it's like, sis, he damn sure ain't fucking with your ass now. Now him and this stripper about to run off to the sunset. You looking crazy.
Not a stripper.
Well, not without your wig, because I'm sure wig is in custody.
The wig's in custody. Evidence.
The wig is in evidence.
Oh my God. All right. But love is result. So if you don't bring home
the love is contingent.
Yeah. So if you don't bring home that money, she don't love you that day.
That's crazy.
But I think a lot of guys are like trained to think that this is still how life is.
I mean, yeah. Especially when you got the whole city girls movement or whatever the case may be. You definitely have this false perception of what women want. And then women, I will say some women have kind of fallen victim to thinking that they can behave that way or attract a man that way or whatever. But it was so crazy because I was watching this reel the other day, and a guy was talking about like things that he seen women do like while dating that he doesn't really agree with. So he basically doesn't, he typically makes videos to like help men like when it comes to like dating and stuff like that. But this was like a video out of the ordinary for him. But one of the things he said that stuck out to me when he was just like, I hate when I'm dating a woman and she comes on too strong. Like she's immediately like asking me for money or trying to get me to give her money or like pay a bill or do this, do that. Like something of monetary value. Like something about like along the lines of asking for money. And he was just like, that's not a good, like, it's not a vibe.
It's not.
You're a bill. He was like, you're not a good time. You're a bill. He was like, I have enough bills. And that was just like a bar. It was really a bar. Because honestly, what doesn't make sense to me is like when a woman, like say for instance a woman ask a man for some money or whatever. Mm-hmm. This is like, you've only been talking to this man for about a week or two, whatever. And you decide, you feel like, oh, well, I may or may not have sex with this man. I feel like he should be paying for it. You ask him for money and he says no. I don't understand how you can get upset about that because A, he's not responsible for paying for your livelihood. If you cannot afford your livelihood, guess whose fault that is?
Yours.
So you expect a man that you're dating, someone who does not know you, he hasn't invested any type of time into you, he doesn't know you personally, he's getting to know you just like you're getting to know him, and you have all these reservations, but he's not supposed to have any. He's supposed to just give up the bread. That's weird. And
That is weird.
it just shows poor money management on your end, that you feel like if a man isn't paying your bills, he's not worthy of your time. But he don't even know you.
I don't know you, sis.
Yeah, like he don't even got no stake in the game. So
Quick back off story. So I had a situation like this like a month ago, right? The girl couldn't get the hint why I wasn't interested, but all she talked about was guys. All right, well, I want a guy. I don't really care about the 55. I want guy to pay most of the bills.
okay.
She had city girl behavior. I mean, always spending her money on the amenities of life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She just go to work to do overtime, to do fun stuff. I understand you gotta live your life and have a great time.
Right.
But she had no long-term goals for like a family. And then like I was not interested at all, because these are all things like I'm okay with not being interested. And I feel confident in myself not to compromise.
Right. You shouldn't. You should never compromise your boundaries for anyone.
And then she seen that I was interested in someone else. Well, this one person didn't ask for anything. She encouraged me. She actually asked some follow-up questions about things I'm interested in. And we both were like meeting in the middle.
And that's how it's supposed to be. I feel like any woman who begs for money or asks for money from a guy, I mean, me personally, if I was a guy, I feel like that would be a turnoff for me. Like, I would not entertain a woman who just off the rip asks me for money or expects me to pay for something. Because let me be honest. If a man likes you, he will. He will. You won't have to ask. He'll just do it. Like, because he's a fucking man and he understands what it means to be a man. And he actually wants to pay for it, like, or he wants to get it for you, or he wants to give you some money. Like,
men like doing that. We like the
men like doing that, yes. And if a man likes you, he will do it. You don't have to ask. There's men who will be in a relationship and they'll still be saying I, me, and it's like, wait a minute, you're in a relationship. It ain't no I anymore. It's us. It's we. So how are you speaking about the future, but you're only talking about yourself? So in that instance,
I can't do everything in the household.
Right.
Like literally, if I'm like making all this money, guess what I need help on?
Yeah.
Finances. So you like if you make
I'll be the bookkeeper in a second. But that's the thing. Like, I feel like when you're in a relationship, you lean on each other's strengths. You know what I'm saying? That's could be considered transactional. Because you're leaning on each other's strengths.
That's true.
Or whatever. So if I'm someone who's more savvy when it comes to the financial upkeep of our livelihood, then I'm just the one who's stronger in it. It's no love lost. It's not to say that you're not capable. It's to just say I'm better at it. And you've acknowledged that. So just let me go ahead and be the best. So that way I can, make sure we got everything in line.
Also, it's boring for me to do the bill part. I'd rather just make the money, have it a big account, and then
And me personally, I'd rather itemize the shit. Like, I'm good at breaking shit down. I'm good at budgeting. So it's just like, why wouldn't you lean on someone's strengths if you know that they're good at it?
That's why I think that's mainly because that's what I've been seeing when I grew up too. That's how the people.
I feel like that's what a lot of people see, and that's what makes it normal.
Managed it. Like,
yeah,
paid the bills, make sure we had enough of this. So when I see a city girl, and it's like, I'm gonna spend your money. I'm like, oh fuck this. Oh hell no.
Not you going to spend my money.
Not my money. Not my investments. Not my portfolio. And I think that's what like many guys are scared of, or like, nah, we try to dodge it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day,
I have feelings too.
Yeah.
Not taking advantage of either.
Thank you for understanding that. Exactly. How do you feel like in the relationships where there's penalties when you don't meet expectations? Like, all right, well, you didn't get me this, so cold shoulder, or you're not giving me attention, I might break some shit or turn your force it.
This goes back to like reciprocation. So if I'm always constantly having your best interest at heart and making sure you good and making sure we spend time together and this, that, and the third, I expect you to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it should be one-sided. I don't think it should be a situation where I'm constantly the one planning dates and executing dates and making reservations and making sure that we go and double checking in with you to make sure you still want to go, when it's just like I can do what I want to do and just know that you're on board, instead of feeling like, I'm forcing you or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, this question really boils down to reciprocation. You got to reciprocate. And when you don't, it really doesn't do anything for the person that you're hanging on to, basically. It doesn't do anything for them because there is no reciprocation.
All right. So last one. What is your last question? What is your definition of a successful relationship?
Ooh, that's a really good question. My definition of a successful relationship is two people who are equally yoked. Two people who are equally yoked, who have an understanding of who each other is. They're willing to deal with each other's flaws, and they're willing to work things out and compromise, because we all know relationships are not perfect, especially when they're long-term. Long-term relationships are difficult. You're going to have to go through ups and downs in order to maintain it. But you got to be with someone who's willing to do the work. Like, a relationship is like a group project. You know what I'm saying? You can't be the person doing all the work or whatever, and then it's time to turn shit in or whatever, and you like, I didn't have any help on this. Like, it was just me the whole time. So it's like a relationship could be an example of that, because it's like you want to parade your relationship on social media to make it look like you're so happy, but in the background you're the one doing 90% of the work. Mm-hmm. You're the one carrying a relationship to make it even look like this. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, making sure that you're really happy with the person that you chose, because a successful relationship, I just feel like it's not easy. I feel like it's very possible though. But the only way it's possible is if y'all are willing to compromise, communicate and compromise.
I think a successful relationship for me is like two people who choose each other every day, no matter what. And I think like loving somebody
every day,
understanding that you gonna be mad at them,
right?
But you chose them,
right?
You are gonna be unhappy with them sometimes, but
right?
You still chose them. You are unconditionally loyal, no matter what.
Unwavering
loyalty. When you move, it's like you're laying bricks for your relationship,
right?
And like I remember for me, like in relationships, I be so serious about it because I understand the mind can fuck up shit, right? My girl know where I'm at. We always know where each other at. I wouldn't even be in a closed room with another woman.
Right.
I don't want any negative thoughts. I don't text or call anyone after 9:30 or 10 p.m. If that's another, like, the opposite sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I know, like, the devil can always come in. And I feel as though, like, boundaries of also, like, respecting each other's insecurities, because we both are going to have insecurities and things that trigger us. But respecting that. You know what I mean?
I have to touch on insecurities, because what I will say is that I understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. You're not necessarily wrong, but it is nothing worse than dealing with an insecure man or insecure woman, because if you are the secure person in your relationship while dealing with an insecure person, you cannot compete with their thoughts. You can't compete with the way that a person overthinks. You can't compete with the scenarios that they make up in their mind. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're insecure, you're insecure. And your insecurity has nothing to do with who you're with. It has everything to do with what you believe about yourself. Your security is rooted in your self-esteem. So if you have a low self-esteem, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have insecurities, because you don't like this about yourself. You don't like that about yourself. You don't like this about yourself. So you're going to be insecure and feel like, well, damn, why are they even with me? You know what I'm saying? I'm not
talking about the total person. I'm talking about my hairy legs.
Right, but I'm saying, if you got hairy legs and you feel like, damn, she may want somebody who don't have hairy legs. Yeah. That's an insecurity or whatever. Or let's just take it a step further. You have hairy legs or whatever. Y'all just so happen to be out somewhere and a nigga walk by and he glistening from head to toe. He don't got a follicle hair on him. You know what I mean? That could immediately make you feel self-secure or self-secure. It could immediately make you feel insecure because it's just like, damn, I know that's probably what she like
I
or
see what you're
whatever.
saying.
And it could be a situation where she don't even like boo. She only got eyes for you. But in your mind, it's like, I'm a hairy ass nigga. Da, 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 da. Like your self-esteem. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the insecurity is all rooted into your self-esteem.
I feel like it's like I can still be like, I guess I'd say, I mean, like, insecurity might be the wrong word, but I feel like I can be confident, but like certain things I might not feel the best about myself. If that makes sense.
I mean, we all have that. Don't get me wrong. We all have insecurities. But I feel like when it trickles into your relationship with someone who's good to you, you know what I'm saying? Where with someone who you have no reason to not believe what they're saying or to not, give them grace, that's when it becomes a problem because no one wants to be constantly under a microscope.
Well, any final words for him?
So the final words, my best advice on this topic is to say that all relationships are transactional. You just have to decipher if it's the best transactions for you. Are you willing to deal with it? Is it right for you? Does it make sense? But all relationships, platonic, romantic, friendship, whatever, they're all transactional. You just have to set your boundaries and decide which ones are okay to you.
So make sure it's a fair transaction and don't feel bad for asking for things you know you deserve. With that, peace out, y'all. Subscribe on YouTube and follow on Apple Podcasts.